yourself with a reality. It's a dream, aren't you? A dream for reality. We are all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration.
Yes, hello. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration. I love my new theme song. What do you guys think of my new theme song? It's pretty cool. I have been having a lot of fun playing with Suno AI. I might talk about it on an episode, or I might do some content about it. I think it's pretty cool. I want to actually share my Suno window for a second. So Suno is an AI that allows you to create songs, and you can create songs simply by typing in the lyrics to the song, or humming a melody into your, you can record. You can, I actually uploaded old bass lines that I had into the AI, and it creates complete songs around that. It's really amazing. I'm pretty blown away with what it does, but I wanted to share you so you guys heard the new theme song. And what it does is it gives you different variations. So I'm going to just quickly play another variation because I think it's just pretty cool. Let me. Rock and roll. Same words. It gives me solo. It actually gives you. It gave me a whole minute and 40 song. I don't want to. I don't want to listen to the whole thing. So let's bring it down. It's actually pretty cool. It does like cool production and motion things. Uh, yeah, let's just let it play. I see my guest. I think my guest lost connection. She's not in the green room anymore. So let's listen to the AI version of the theme song to the live stream of consciousness. You guys can't hear it? Oh, here I am. I'm dancing around and I'm looking and I'm dancing, and you guys say you can't hear it. Hold on a second. That's not cool at all. I want you guys to hear this, and plus my guest is lost her connection. I'm gonna actually have to see what went on with that. But let me stop that screen. It looks like she's reconnected, device not connected, and it looks like she's coming in. Thank you guys for telling me that you couldn't hear it, but I was rocking to it. It was pretty cool. Okay, it looks like she's back, but I'm going to go back into sharing this. Hold on a second. This Chrome tag. This is going to be photosynthesis. Join me. Why can't I see that tab here? Chrome tab. Wait. That is a Chrome tab. What happens if I... You guys just bear with me for a second. This is very strange. Normally I can just share that easily. It's not sharing it for some reason. So share screen. All right, Chrome tab. Oh, there we go. Photosynthesis. Join me on Suno. There we go. You guys should be seeing that now. And we should hear it. Let's hear it one more time. Live stream of consciousness. The alternative. Tell me if you can hear this. You guys hear that? No, you can't hear it. Wow. experiencing all sorts of technical difficulties here tonight on the live stream of consciousness. Very interesting. I don't usually have those kind of Chrome tab, also share tab audio. Yes, the audio is clicked. It says join me on Suno. I'm clicking that. I'm sharing that window. I'm adding it, and let's do it this way. Let's do it. You guys hear that? One more time. It's just the last try.
This is the theme song of the Livestream of Consciousness. You gotta ask yourself,
You hear that? You guys hearing that? Maybe in my microphone.
we are all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now.
Anyway, I've been amazed at working with this AI and what it does. It does like production and solos and yeah, it does all that stuff. It adds it into the music. It's really great. And I'm going to just lower it a little bit because it extends the music, gives it some cool little sections, and then you got to hear it bring back the vocals.
You've gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or if you are dreaming reality. We are all a part of the answer to the meaning.
Now you see why I was rocking. So there you go. You can see why I was rocking out with it. I'm going to do a fade out here. Oh no, I just let it go through to the end. There you go. There is my Suno page. I'm sorry. Thanks, guys. Oh, I gotta stop it. That's the one I used. Thank you guys for your patience. I was just trying to share that with you. I've been having so much fun, and I showed Jesse Blaze how to use the tool, and he is loving it. Get ready for a whole album. He's creating a whole album with it, and doing a lot of really cool stuff. Anyway, wow, what a long babbling. I usually only babble till 9:03. It's 9:08. It is Thursday, January 16th. We have collectively agreed. I'm starting to call my episodes by their number. So this is episode number 188. I've done a bunch of these things. That's over the few years that I've been doing this. I've had 188 amazing conversations at least. Thank you for joining me. If you are a first-time visitor, hashtag first time. If you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. What that does is it tickles the algorithm. It lets them know that there's something here worth watching, worth sharing with other people. You can share easily just by clicking. All of that stuff really helps. So thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I'm excited. It's a new year. It's 2025. I'm also doing a show over on the Sacred Spiral Network. So much stuff going on. But let's make tonight about my special guest. I have a special guest who is a psychic as well as an artist. So a psychic artist. I've had a few psychic artists on, and I feel like there's a connection between creativity and metaphysical modalities, a lot of different metaphysical modalities. That we're going to talk about that. I see Kate Muldoon out there. First time. Welcome, Kate. Thank you very much for being here. Ninja Kitty live, Tim Lorenz live. Thank you guys for always supporting. So here we are. It's 9:09. I've babbled way too long. So I've got to welcome to the live stream of consciousness my guest, Jessica Robinson, psychic artist. What's up, Jessica?
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited that we met at the Empowered Path Expo, and a lot of amazing energies and people there. And I'm excited to bring you onto the show and talk about what you do and how you bring your psychic abilities and your artist together. and what that's all about. And oh, I see Lisa Fazio out there. What's up, Lisa? Yes, I was on your show, Psychic Artist here. That's right. A couple of, see, again, I think there's a connection. I definitely want to talk about that. You know, I believe that source is love, yes, but that's only one part of it. I believe that source is also creative energy. Creation is source, right? Source is all about creation. So I believe there's a connection, but we'll talk about that. And Tim is saying usually you have to pay to tickle someone's algorithm. That's right. And on my show, it's free. You just gotta do hashtag. Just give me a hashtag. Just give me a subscribe. Just give me a share, and boom, you're done. You don't have to pay anybody. Anyway, so the live stream of consciousness, I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I always ask the same question because every answer is right, and it just adds to the knowledge and the piece of the puzzle. And that question is, what is consciousness? What are we talking about when we say consciousness?
Am I answering or?
Yeah, I would love to hear your answer. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, the way I grew up in a household with a lot of books spilling off the shelves. Everyone were both my parents were English professors and writers and poets, and we would get together and have group family poetry readings, and there was a lot of art and music, and everywhere there were layers of colorful things that was very exciting to explore, and they were very inspirational for me.
I
And
love the way
I,
you put that.
oh,
Layers
thank
of
you.
colorful things. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's, yeah,
thank
awesome.
you. And I feel like I had a very early awareness of different different levels and ways to experience consciousness. It stemmed from different needs that I had in my life from early on, and reasons that I wanted to escape, maybe things that felt too hard to kind of
Mhm,
be in that present moment for.
mhm.
So I was also very fortunate to grow up in a family where intuition and uh, and that sort of entering of your imagination was normalized. It was welcome. It was something that you strived for, and you brought yourself into that plane of existence. For me, in part, it was a matter of survival, but mainly it just felt exciting.
Mhm.
My dad, whom I recently lost, not even 2 months ago, he
Oh,
was,
sorry to hear.
thank you so much. He was a wonderful mentor and inspiration to me. He was always a very psychic person, and always felt very psychically connected. I wouldn't even have to uh, give him a call. I would just think about him and vice versa, and the phone would ring, and that sort of connection. And when I was a little girl, I also had the good fortune of growing up on the North Shore of Long Island in Rocky Point, across the street from the beach. I could see the
Mm,
lights of Connecticut,
nice.
on the Long Island Sound from my living room and my parents' bedroom.
Wow,
And
nice.
yeah, it was a wonderful gift to have, and I was, organically a naturist. I thrived in that environment, and living in such close proximity, it was my playground all year round. And I have a lot of early memories of being aware of how to enter the land of imagination, being creative, and that interweaving with psychic abilities. So it felt for example, it felt other dimensional when I created. It felt like I had a discovery that more portal to another realm, another land, and uh, all these things kind balance off of each other, fire off each other. I also have synesthesia, by the way. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes, wow, yes,
But
I am. But well,
yeah.
let's just explain it for the audience who might not know what it's about. What is the definition of synesthesia?
Well, for me, I mean, I only really became aware of what synesthesia was maybe 5 years ago,
Oh,
sort of by accident, because I think when something is your reality, you're not even understanding that there's something different. You know, it was just
Sure.
how I lived. I'm watching a video of someone describing their creative process and explaining that they had synesthesia, and they had this little animatic, and I thought, oh my God, it was a real epiphany. That's what this is. I didn't even know there was
Right.
a name for it. And then I started to delve into all the different ways I have it. But basically, synesthesia is a layering and a connectivity of your senses. So one sense triggers off of another. It feels orchestral in a way. So, for example, if you said a number to me, like say 6, I automatically visualize the color forest green. I see either in my mind's eye or in front of me like a pattern that associates with it. And sometimes it's auditory and I hear music. And there's lots of different things that all interweave and connect. So when I was a kid, I would begin the process of creating and entering this land of imagination. And it brought me to this place that felt like a protective bubble. And it did feel other dimensional to me.
Wow.
It was a wonderful awareness to have, and it taught me to observe things with like a thinking eye. You know, where you approach maybe even something that seems normal, like in this plane of existence, but then you observe it and kind of take in all its perspectives and the dynamic and the energy that it puts out, and imagine all the different ways, like where could you take that in your
Right.
personal world, you know,
Right.
how you can, you know, elevate it and bring it into something transformative and
Sure.
even breathe
Yeah.
life into it. That's what always felt so powerful to me as a psychic artist, was you literally felt like you're infusing your psychic energy into it. It's, you know, I'll always be a traditional illustrator. That, I mean, I appreciate lots of different mediums and ways to create, but for me there's nothing like, you know, making that piece of art have an aura and an energy to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just comes just with intention, right? When you're creating a piece of art, there's an intention behind it, and intention has a very specific energy to it. So I think, already that's actually kind of what I was talking about, where I feel like creation in general is a very divine energy. It's something very divine to be connected to. And I find a lot of people who, are psychic or connected to source in some way, also express themselves creatively usually. So I definitely see a connection with that. And that's very cool. And you gave a much better definition of synesthesia than I would. And I love what you said, because I never even thought about that, right? I do believe that we are all connected, and there's energy that flows through the universe that is a part of us all, and that's how we're all connected. But I never thought of the idea that our senses are actually also connected. And then when you said that, I started to think about it and realized, like, yes, our senses are all just different ways of perceiving that energy, whether it be a visual perception, a touch sensation, a smell sensation. Those are all just different ways to connect to that vibration of whatever it is you're connecting to. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And it seems like synesthesia is almost like not a bad thing. It's almost like one of those things that we would strive for, and that's been kind of stripped from us in society, right? As we've been put into industrial schools and all of these things. It seems like synesthesia should be a given right, like it should be it sounds like a wonderful way to experience reality. I'm imagining.
It can feel a bit strange sometimes, I think, but I do agree with
Sure.
you that for the most part, it feels more like a gift to have that extra
Yeah.
awareness. And yeah,
Right. Right. And I never looked at synesthesia as kind of like a psychic thing, right? As a psychic ability, but that is definitely the way you just made that connection for me, in my brain, and in the information is is exactly why I asked the question, what is consciousness? Because I know that
right,
everybody's got a different answer that all makes sense. So perfect. I love it. Thank you so
right.
much. That's beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I'm going to imagine that's going to tie into everything that we have to talk about, why you're on the journey that you are,
Yeah.
and why you're here today. So the next question that I like to ask will also lead into that, and I'm imagining you have a good story to share, or memory, or a moment that you remember where you realized there was something more to existence than just the 3D. You wake up, there's the sun, you gotta, do the crops, do the chores. There's much more to it. Like, was there a specific aha moment or story that you want to share?
Yes, thank you. I feel like there were always leading up points to this big moment that happened when I was, I'd say, 14. But leading up to reaching that point, I had many different experiences that never really felt scary to me. Like, for example, my parents had a bunch of real estate, and they owned the first built home in Port Jefferson. And as a kid, and there was a big 2-story, pretty creepy barn on the property, and they had the apartment. So, as a kid, my sister and I, we would, while our parents were collecting rents and tending to things, we would go play on the second floor of this barn. And I was always aware that there was this little ghost. It was a ghost of a little girl
Hmm.
who, was in a turn of a century dress, and I could describe her to, in detail. And her energy was, it wasn't scary. She was just curious. She just, maybe a little lonely. She just wanted to hang out in the eaves and the shadows and observe us playing. And she sort of felt like a distant friend.
Wow.
And I wouldn't share, yeah, I wouldn't share this information with my little sister. It would have freaked her out. But each time we'd go to that location, I sort of looked forward to seeing her and just feeling her presence. And
Mhm.
it wasn't till, well, and then when we would leave, I would look up at the uh, top floor window of the barn, and I would see her looking out at me, and I, give goodbye, and she'd give a hand up. So it was many years later. I was not a kid anymore. I was in my 20s, and my psychic dad, who knows why it just even came up, but it did, and he mentioned her to me. I'd never even had a conversation with him about it. And he
Oh,
said, "Oh,
wow.
remember that little girl, that ghost of that little girl? She'd always be, at the old Jeff house and hanging out in the top floor. Always wave at her as we would, drive off." And so it was affirmation, but it was also, uh, yeah, it just kind of also, it was affirmation that it happened, and it was real. Didn't imagine it happened, but it was also comforting to me because
Well, so yeah, that's thank you for sharing that. So you were playing with your sister and you were experiencing the presence of this girl, but you didn't share with your sister that this little girl was there with you.
I didn't want to scare her. I
So
knew
so
she'd be a little scared by that.
okay, so yeah, so I'm just pulling this story apart a little bit. So something inside of you told you, you knew, because a lot of times I talk to people and who can see that, right, and they don't realize that other
Right.
people can't. So you knew that you could and she couldn't, and you felt like she would be scared. There was something intuitive about it. um and
Yeah.
then the affirmation from your father also, I got from that your father actually saw the figure in the window as well. Is that
He
what you were
saw
telling
her
me?
more than from a distance. He described her
Wow.
to a T. Yeah, it was
Wow.
exactly
Wow.
that. Um,
So
yeah.
so that actually is an affirmation for me, because I've been thinking lately about communication and what it means to connect with the other side. And
Right.
I guess I started thinking about this because of something that someone was talking about, language. And I was, what came to me was that there's not a language, it's all about feeling. Everything is communicated, everything is transmitted through feeling and knowing, just a knowing, because you're connected, on that
Right.
energetic level. And so it's just like this knowing. So all of
Yeah.
everything, that whole story validates that whole idea. So that's very, very cool. Okay, so continue. I didn't want to interrupt, but
Oh, that's
I'm
okay.
fascinated. I love it. I'm
Oh,
fascinated.
thank you. Well, I mean, I think I had that intuitive feeling and understanding that not everyone would be seeing the same things or having the same experiences, because I had already been having, other experiences at different levels, and variety of sorts. But I think that mainly for me, uh, I was understanding that there were other dimensions, right? And I don't even necessarily, now that I have so much experience and experiences under my belt, I don't even necessarily think I would feel the same way having that experience, because then I kind of felt like she was someone that was visiting from another place and time. But now I feel more like time isn't linear, and that you can tap into coexisting energy. Maybe she was
Right.
just visiting and then she went back to her activity that was, existing in a parallel world.
Right.
I have other levels of awareness and understanding of consciousness that I didn't then, of course, gaining life
Right.
experience.
Sure.
um,
Sure.
but what
Yeah.
happened that was the monumental pivotal thing for me was when I was 14, my whole family was in a really bad car accident, and
Oh,
I was jolted out of my physical body, and I had my first conscious astral projection.
oh
And
wow.
when I had that astral projection, I could see, how the demise went down, including my physical body, which I saw thrown around the interior of this van. And I did lose, physical consciousness. And when I came to, it all made sense because I'd had this out of body experience. And once that happened, there was no turning back. My world completely opened up. It was traumatic the way it happened, but then I was thirsting for knowledge. Then I was like, well, what was that? And what was that? And I want to know more. And I want to be able to control that. I want to know, because experiences that felt powerful, my dad kind of really, mentored me, was even as a little girl, as I was starting to say, I had survivalistic reasons why I wanted to have maybe some escape and ability to protect myself. However, traveling through layers of consciousness and exploration that way. And my dad to kind of help me feel in control of anxiety, being able to protect myself and have that tool in my belt. He explained to me how meditation works and how also biofeedback works, so that I would do these fun games with myself where I would let me relax myself, become aware of my heartbeat and pulse, and then slow it, and do these things so that
At how
super
old? How old were you? How old were you when you did that?
little, about very early on, because I
Wow.
had a lot of craziness in my environment. I had a unmedicated bipolar and depressive mom,
Mm.
and a lot of dysphoria. Like I was living in a bomb, landmine field, like bomb would go off at any point. So I needed to do a couple things to survive that environment. I had to feel current knowledge of who I was, I am. That inspired me to go on exploration within, you know, uh, self self knowledge. That
Jessica, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I think
Yeah.
you're breaking up a little bit, your audio. I don't know if
Oh.
it's probably just like a bandwidth thing. You come in fine and I could hear you clear, but then you went into a moment where I lost a little bit of
Oh.
what you
Okay.
were saying. So you were talking about the
Okay.
environment that you were growing up in, and kind of like, using it to escape, and then you started breaking up, and I didn't.
Oh, okay. It's just using it as a method to protect myself. It inspired a lot of exploration of just self-love, knowledge and understanding of myself. And I did the same type of escape route with art, and the melded and combined. It was just a natural coming together, the psychic world and the art world.
Mhm.
It felt like something very needed and soothing. So it wasn't a scary thing. So after I had this conscious astral projection, I asked my father, "Oh my God," I described it. What was that?
Right.
And he explained, "Oh, that was an astral projection." And I became very aware at that point, very aware of the separation of consciousness. And I knew already about feeling this is just a physical body, a physical vehicle that we reside in. But then being in the astral form, I became aware of my ethereal body, your life essence, your life force, and also my astral body, you know. And then I kind of went on a mission to gain knowledge, and knowledge is power. And environment, I've always been a research driven person. So I started to explore all the pioneers of parapsychology, like Carrington and Muldoon, and these guys, like, in the late 1800s, they were conducting experiments. They were, they were solidifying, and something that I think prior to that, people just would chalk up to, oh, that could have just been a dream. Perhaps that was just something that occurred in a dreamlike state. But at the same time, I was also having a lot of fun with dreamscapes, and maintaining dream lucidity. The way I could have a key in and a portal into having conscious astral projections was, to kind of bring myself to this place called your hypnagogic state. It's that place where in between being unconscious and conscious, you're super relaxed. You're about to fall asleep, or you're just waking up, And at that kind of magic hotspot of relaxation, I would do these things to trick myself out of my body. Like, I'd imagine that I was rolling out of my body onto the floor, that I was lying in the floor of an elevator, rising up. However, I would kind of trick my physical body into thinking that this was happening while I'm lying prone in my bed, and then I'd fall out, or I'd rise up, and I'd have an adventure. Now, this is where I'm excited to get to discussing color and how it integrates into that whole process of, creating psychic art and infusing that energy. Because when we think of emotions, right, they all have different frequencies. And the same thing goes for color. And that's why when you figure out ways to achieve a balance, a homeostasis within your body, it feels very nourishing, very soul nourishing and healing. So in the process of creating art, you are wielding the superpower there. You're doing a lot of different things. There's conjuration, there's self-healing, there's color therapy. You're entering a land of imagination, which catapults you into inspirational consciousness, up to intuitive consciousness. And that's a place that I was already organically getting to in the process of creating, and in the process of feeling, tapping into my psychic abilities, which I also, at that same time, I'd say after that pivotal moment at 14, having that first conscious astral projection, I was honing skills with Dad and on my own. We were practicing astral projection, remote viewing, divination. He gave me my first set of runes and, explained how the process worked, how you tap into that highest level of consciousness, that intuitive place, that quiet place of listening, deep within yourself, that crypto conscious place is what I like to call it. I learned from the
I like that word.
Yeah, your secret place,
Yeah.
Would you mind putting up one of my pieces of art that I had?
No, I actually, I'd love to get to that, but I just want to tell you how much, how important what you're saying is to me specifically, because you're really making a lot of connections with a lot of things, right? So, I already subscribe to the idea that everything is energy, right? And frequency and vibration and all of that. And I already know that color is vibration. Each color is a certain vibration, a certain frequency. Sound is a certain vibration and frequency. And then that is exactly what I said when I started this show and this conversation with you, was I wanted to make that connection between creativity and the divine. And you just, like, it just all is connected. It's like all different expressions of frequency, different connections to frequency. So when you're working
Yeah.
with color, when you're working with music, when you're working with sound, you're working with those divine elements. So it's perfect. I love the explanation that you just gave. So let me set up my
Yeah.
screen here. Share. Okay, so I have it set to your website. Let me put that up while I have that here. That's at the bottom of the screen. If what Jessica is saying is resonating with you like it is resonating with me, there's more to be found out at her website. And let's take a look at her artwork. Here we go. This is, I believe, in the order that you gave them to me. I don't know if there was a specific order in the email, but there you go.
Was. They're all connected. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
This piece I actually created in Photoshop. I'm also a photographer, and it's the only digital piece that I'm showing you tonight. But this is called Embrace. It's actually a photograph of myself with my two daughters when they were younger, and
Oh, wow.
it's important because I feel that, you know, when you're creating something, and like you were just so perfectly in alignment describing, when something resonates with you, there's an emotional connection. You know, there's the color connection, color therapy, all the different ways that you can tap into your sensory memories of things that you may need to draw into your world, but also you may need to draw an emotion. You need to draw so many different things that you might want to attract and help manifest for yourself. So for me, this piece is all about feeling connected. It's about learning and mother-child connection, but it's also about love. It's about feeling intertwined in that love, and that's why I embrace. It actually comes from a larger piece that I created, an image that I created specifically as you lift up a wave and we're lying on the ocean's floor, and that's what you see that's been revealed is our embrace on the ocean's floor. So I have a lot of reflected light.
I'm going to just zoom in
Thank you
here a
so
little bit. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, and I do photography and Photoshop and stuff. So I love the different ways people can express themselves. And so, like, looking at this, you know, without like, oh, this is a photograph, this is that. I mean, it's got this very nice, like, illustrative quality to it, and almost more like a handmade, you know, drawing kind of quality to it, you know, which is really beautiful. So very nice. I love it.
Thank you.
Definitely it carries a vibration with it, for sure. So okay, let's go to the next one.
Now, this is a self-portrait, and it came very organically. I didn't plan it out at all. Sometimes you need to feel serendipitous, I think, in the process, because, you know, the definition of serendipity, creative accident, right? So it's sort of following your intuitive creative path and just going with the flow, you know, and allowing what needs to happen. I actually was feeling inspired because I had gotten a brand new pencil sharpener, and it was giving me the sharpest point I'd ever seen on my pencil. So this piece was tracing paper. It's probably only a few inches tall and wide, and it just needs to come out because that's how I was feeling in that moment. So it was psychic art in that it was an emotional release, and, you know, it was therapeutic in that way. And sometimes you don't need to draw the color in. You know, sometimes you need to feel still in the as I like to call it, the chiaroscuro, you know, the black and white, the world of simplicity.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and it certainly evokes everything you need it to, you know, with just two tones, the black and the white. It's great. Awesome.
Thank you.
And then let's go to this next one.
Thank you. This is actually a nice lead in to tell you about an original oracle that I'm creating right now, a 33-card oracle. And it's a labor of love and a lot of different paths and uncharted territories and landscapes. The journey of creating it has taken me on. It's something that I will be integrating in my own process of divination. But this is my high priestess. My Oracle, it's along the lines of tarot, but it's really more original concepts with a Greek mythological infusion and based on my life experience as a psychic. So here's my high priestess looking very powerful with her familiar, a black panther, and it's a mixed medium piece, but I just wanted her to feel ingrained in nature and super secure in who she knows she is and her place.
Nice, very nice. And this is going to be part of an oracle deck, like an oracle deck set.
Yes, it's called
Awesome.
the Blue Rose Oracle.
Nice, I love it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I'm going to move on. I know I got a couple of pieces here. I want to get through all of them. This one
Thank
was
you.
pretty cool. I thought this was nice.
Thank you. This is called The Last Leaf. It's an older piece, but I think it's a good example of psychic art, right? Because it always made me feel like I had captured a piece of a soul and infused it into the leaf, which, you know, normally you would think of as an inanimate object. You wouldn't necessarily, especially a wrinkled, dying leaf that's about to fall, you know, you wouldn't necessarily think that it had this magic to it, this energy that had been infused into it. And I was inspired by an O. Henry story, actually, when I created this.
Oh, yeah.
But it was all about, it represented hope, because it was all about these two artists, and one of them had given up the will to live, and her friend was sitting bedside, and it was autumn, and she looked out the window, and there was this last leaf, and she said to her friend, when that last leaf falls, you know, she's going to let go. She won't be here any longer. So as she slept, he snuck outside and he climbed up. He painted this leaf on the outside of the window so that there'll always be a leaf there.
Oh,
The
wow.
last leaf will never fall. So
I
it's
never
hope.
heard that story. What a great story.
Thank you.
Yeah, I never heard that story. I'm surprised. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Very cool. And I also, you know, I love the personification of the leaf, and you know, there's so many different layers to this. Like I could probably, I guess that's the beautiful thing about art, right? Is like the person who is looking at it receives some different, might receive some
Absolutely.
different messages. Yeah, awesome.
That's
I love
very
it.
true. However it communicates to you.
Yeah, but it was saying some things to me, but I didn't want to get hung up on it. So let's show some more of this. I got like 3 or 4
That's
more
good.
pieces.
Thought provoking. That's the goal I want.
Yeah, it really was. Well, I just to take a quick side note, I did a body of work called The Women of Armageddon, and it was a concept calendar that came to me in 2011, right? Because 2012 there was predictions from Nostradamus that the world was going to end and all of this stuff, and I jokingly said to my girlfriend at the time, who was a makeup artist and special effects artist, what's going to happen to the Sports Illustrated swimwear calendar if the world ends? And so I came up with this idea of a calendar that kind of has like a mixture of Mad Max meets, you know, Victoria's Secret. So it was like, you know,
Nice. I like that contrast.
women who like their hair was done, but they look like Mad Max. And
I like it.
in doing that, there was one particular photo shoot that I had where I have a photo of a girl, and it's called The Last Flower. And there's just one flower coming up out of the ground. It's the last flower, and she's got this big like machete. She's about to cut it and like take it home, and it's the last flower. But it just, that piece made me think about that. So anyway, let's get to this next piece, which is, hold on, the name of it is, this is called The Portal.
The Portal, yes. This was a piece of psychic art that I channeled energy when I was in a psychic location, which is sometimes how I create psychic art. Is I'll go to a psychic hotspot of a place, and I'll just, you know, act as a conduit, bring the psychic energy through. And I did a layering of that. I also was channeling a musical performance. My friend was performing in her band, and she actually was dressed similarly. She had her horns and like a black bustier. But yeah, and in this place, it was actually a well-known psychic hotspot called Katie's of Smithtown. And
Oh wow, I'm familiar. I'm on Long Island. The show, the show's all over the world, but I'm very familiar with Katie's and some of the legends of the haunting of Katie's. Very,
yes,
very
yeah, I've had some really fun adventures there, psychic
cool.
experiences there for sure.
Very
But
cool.
the thing, thank you. Yeah, the thing that really gets me most excited about Katie's psychically is that I became aware that there's a mirror portal in the basement. It's right by the most psychic part of Katie's, which is the stairwell, the most haunted part. But I did a couple different meditations like at that mirror. I actually did an event there right around Halloween where I gave psychic readings down in the basement,
Oh,
not far from. Yeah, I was actually wondering what would actually channel through because there's so many. It feels like there's a way station of entities and energies down there. Especially, it's a real vortex of
that's
things
cool.
happening.
Wow.
So when I was channeling that energy, that's what came through, and so I titled it the portal because I definitely I felt like behind the figure, it felt like the mirror portal, and then you can see there's a little figure kind of floating and traveling into
Mhm.
that direction through the
Sure.
portal. And there's also a little figure, I don't know if you could see, but at the base and
Yeah.
looking at this city off through the
Yeah.
portal.
It
So,
looks like a whole other world through the portal there. I can see. Yeah.
yes,
Very
yeah.
cool. So out of curiosity, just because I'm also on Long Island and know Katie's, who was the band? Do you want to share that? Who
Oh,
the band was?
yes, it was my friend Michelle was the singer for a band called Witches Dance, which was a
Witches Dance.
yeah, yes, it was a cover band for King Diamond and
Oh wow.
yeah, two different. I forget the other band off the top of my head, but yeah, and
An
she was very
all-female cover band of Merciful Fate.
Merciful Fate and King Diamond, but she's just the female singer, and the rest,
Wow. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
male backup.
Crazy. Wow. That's pretty
Great
crazy.
energy, yeah, it was really vibrating through the air. Lots of
Wow.
fun things going on.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is called I Am the River. What? I'm sorry. I just wanted to just switch that. This, I believe that's no. Is that I Am the River? No, that is
No, no, but this is a
I Am
good
the
one.
River. Here we go. Sorry, I wanted to go in. This was I Am
Oh,
the River.
thank you. Yes, I am the river. This one, I I had a lot of emotions and psychic energy infusing into this piece. I actually was creating it while I was losing my dad. But something that I always felt in meditation that resonated with me was that sense of going to sensory memory where you're walking out in nature, you're in a woods, and you see a stream and or a river. You lay down in the river and you feel like you become one. You feel like you're part of that flow. That
Mm,
exchange of energy and movement and those things. That breathe life.
mm,
And so that's came through. I felt like it turned into a self portrait very quickly, and just I needed to get it out there, and also to draw that that sense of atmosphere into my world because I was suffering. So I was bringing a sense of peace to myself, and
mhm,
and I'm not completely under the water. I'm hanging in there, and I'm in my own world of protection. So
mhm,
that's kind
mhm.
of what was coming through, and that's why I titled it I Am the River.
Wow. Awesome. And it's interesting because you just brought up kind of a sensation, a feeling, right? Right. And I was talking about how, it's not words, it's just a knowing, it's just a feeling. And you talked earlier about this moment kind of in between wake and sleep that had this magical quality to it. And I think everybody can probably relate to that. I know for me, I can certainly relate to it. And I know so many people who do it, and I wish I could, like, to really practice astral travel and get control of it. But to me, that moment, I can best describe it when you were talking about it as that moment where your alarm clock is going off, but in your dream, there's something happening that also is being represented by that sound. So you're kind of halfway in between, like you're perceiving things, with your senses, but you're interpreting them into whatever dimension you're in at that moment, you know, because you're in a dream state, you're somewhere else. And I think everybody can relate to that moment. So that was another realization you just brought together for me. So thank you for that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And let's see here what the next one was. We did the portal. The last leaf we did, here we go, journey to the higher self, rainbow bridge. Wow.
Thank you. And it's not quite done yet. This is an in-progress piece. I'm almost there. I'm in the home stretch. But as you can see, there's a lot of different elements in this piece. So, and I am a detail girl. I'm definitely the type of artist. So, I mean, sometimes I'll let it loose and just, you know, see what happens serendipitously, have a looser sort of mind. But this is something where I'm spending a lot of time rendering and building up the contrast with layers and a lot of psychic energy into this piece. So this is titled Journey to Higher Self and the Rainbow Bridge. And it was inspired by, and that last piece as well, and this one, were inspired by a course I'm actually taking, because, you know, knowledge is power. So I always want to be sharpening the tools in my belt. I'm taking this course through the Carl Jungian Institute, but it's all about art as a path of learning, of schooling through your inner psyche. So basically what's happening here is it's, again, a self-portrait. I have a feeling a lot of the pieces I'll be creating for this year-long course will be self-portraits, because it's all about self-exploration and
you're going through a lot. You're going through a lot right now, so yeah.
Yeah, and it's really come at just the right time. So
yeah,
here
absolutely.
I am. Alignment. Here I am entering at the bottom of the piece. I'm entering my inner world, my secret garden, my inner chambers within. And, you know, it resonated for me because, you know, when I was a little girl and I would be, you know, breeding my imagination, and being in a literary family with the books spilling off the shelves, you know, my dad taught Greek mythology and all the different stories and books that excited me, things that delved into other dimensions, you know, like the Myths of Avalon and House Between Two Worlds, and you know, even Journey to the Center of the Earth, you know, where you're traveling down beneath the surface and all the metaphors that brings, you know, the world within, the greatest world of all, you know, where you're feeling most powerful and exploring. And The Secret Garden was a favorite book of mine. So just that place where you can feel like you can find your way to your most blissful state, your inner peace, and it's called the Grail state. It's that highest level of feeling and harmonious state by in this outer world and having to deal with all these outside forces. But when you figure out how to tap into that power, which is what I enjoy most of all, helping people, you know, I create custom sessions and give these sorts of readings where we really delve to, you know, tapping in, you create a better path for yourself, a path of success where you can feel in control of your reality. And the key to that is getting to that, you know, tapping into your power, right? And being able to travel to that level of inspirational consciousness, self, right? So here, that secret garden, and that's how I imagine my little inner world. And then above it and around it and configured where you have to traverse these landscapes. So that's, you know, in and around, and that's present. So that's why I have also the different elements, you know, are represented. So I have, you know, the earth, that feeling grounded, even when maybe you don't feel grounded, because, you know, there's the water and the air, but I have the anchor to symbolize the grounding. I have the burning heart over the kind of the more arid, you know, drier landscape, but still the passion that you have to keep ignited in your world, right? And keep those flames going, because that's what makes you feel like life has a purpose, you know. It really immortalizes you in life, and, you know, even when you're not here anymore, it's tapping into your life essence. So I have the burning heart to always keep your passions burning. And then that central point, it's actually called the Sophia point, but that's the rainbow bridge where you're really traversing into other levels of consciousness. So you're entering the land of imagination, you know. That's also a little portrait of me where I have a flock of birds, you know, acting as a kite, lifting me up. So however you need to get there, going through that portal, you know, traversing that rainbow bridge, or just, you know, being resourceful as you need to do in this life, you know, that's a means of success. And then at the top, I have the two goddesses that stand at the gates of imagination, intuition, and inspiration. And so that's really like the highest level of consciousness, where and I didn't want them to be colorful for a reason. You know, I kind of feel like that sense of the afterlife being this peaceful sort of uh, empty place going in, because it's so plentiful beyond those gates that it's a world you can't even imagine. So that's, you know, it kind of also puts me in mind of when I had my first astral projection, and then the ones that came after that. Growing that first exciting moment where you separate from your physical body, and as soon as you're out, you know, you see your sleeping body behind you, and then you look ahead, and as you go past other people that are still on the physical plane, it's like a color show. You know, you see the auras. You know, on the physical plane, I could concentrate and meditate and see an aura, you know, and get my psychic impressions. But when you're on the astral plane, the colors are very vibrant and everything's in your face. And I would shoot out through my parents' bedroom window, and then I would go out over the sound, the Long Island Sound. I would fly out over the sound, and you know, fly towards the heights of Connecticut. But I would feel the wind pass through me, and sometimes I'd hear music. But you know, when you are conscious of these other dimensions and how to tap in your most inward place to kind of be a key into getting there, you feel like the truest form, the purest form of things. And
Yeah.
it's very empowering. It's, you know, it's all about focusing in to your power and having that self-empowerment.
Yeah, you know, your words are resonating so freaking loudly with me. It's amazing. I think I might have talked about it on this show. You know, I talk to a lot of people who are connected in a lot of different ways, and all of these different modalities and everything. And I had an experience probably a few months back that the only way I would be able to describe it was a download, right? And I always hear people talking about I had this download, and it's just a way of kind of getting information, and that is coming from somewhere higher, right?
Yes.
And my download was very, very simple, and I've been trying to kind of process it. I know it to be true, because that's how it works, right? It's a feeling, but I'm still trying to process it, right? And that download was that imagination is the reality. That this experience as a three-dimensional being is an illusion, right? And it's really difficult to wrap your head around that as that illusion, because I am that illusion, and it's difficult to wrap my head around the idea that I am that illusion. But there is definitely a deep knowing inside of me that imagination is where reality exists, and that's kind of a realm of thought. That's really kind of a good way to describe it, right? It's the realm of thought, the realm of consciousness. That's really
Yeah.
where reality exists there. So much of what you're talking about really, really kind of validates a lot of the thoughts I've been having. It kind of helped me wrap my head a little bit around it. I always said that, you know, certain things they tell you in science, like the universe is always expanding, right? It's just constantly expanding, the universe expanding. And for me, as an individual, my contribution is to that is every thought that I have expands the universe, because before I thought of that, whatever thought it was, it didn't exist in the universe, and now it does. So the universe has expanded. So it's a simple kind of
I love
math,
that.
yeah, it's a simple kind of math and philosophy. But man, I love everything you're saying, Jessica. It's right on.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, it's
Thank you.
perfect. All right, so I think I've got no, maybe not. I think that next one is the homepage. Yep, I think that was the last piece of art that you sent me.
Okay, great.
So the next one is your homepage where people can find out more about you, and that's actually perfect timing because we're just about at an hour. But you are brilliant. I love talking to you. That was so many realizations you made, that just connections that just made me feel a little more comfortable. Things that I'm going to say, and you're going to get this when I say it, things that I knew already, because we know everything already, but you start to remember little pieces, and I definitely remembered a couple of pieces through this conversation. So I really appreciate
Thank you. Well, I
that.
just wanted to take the last couple minutes to just explain about runes,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
because there's something that I learned from an early age when Dad bestowed my first set to me, something that really helped me tap into my highest level of intuition. And I use a very special set that has a lot of different methodologies infused into it, but basically it's based off of the Viking alphabet, which goes back to 150 AD, when that was a way, even if you weren't psychic, just to have gain knowledge, to tap into your ability to kind of foresee what may or may not happen, gain some sort of control with that knowledge. Before they had pen and paper and manuscripts, get these simple tiles, and say they wanted to know who you're going to go off to battle, who's going to win the battle, the runes. The Greeks called them secret council. So they were always a very magical sort of tool that would open people up to receiving information. And when I divine, I use the runes, and I also do a process of sensory meditation where I tap in to the person's energies. And they could either be holding the runes in their hands, or if I'm doing it for them, then I'm acting as a conduit for their subconscious energy, because each rune has a different color, a different frequency, and it combines with that subconscious energy, and some magic happens there, and it reveals a lot of information on what you need to know. And I often will even have meditate on a sense of fulfillment, getting to a place in their life, whatever area they need insight, but also when they know, that grail space, that place of feeling harmonious and blissful.
Right.
And then when we do the rune throw, after I've got written down all my psychic impressions and visions, after we meditate together, it's very telling. It aligns. It all aligns, and a lot more information is revealed. So it's a pretty magical tool to use for divination, in combination with being in that listening space.
I love it, and I just brought up a picture. This is just on the internet, just so people can see what the alphabet looks like and the runes look like. I would love to invite you back to actually, maybe we could do a whole episode on runes, and I haven't really done that. And I know one of my viewers, Helen Wagner, actually sent me, is it locally nearby me? No, I don't have it within my reach, but she just sent me a set of runes that she had made for me at a resin. She works with resin, and she made a beautiful set of runes for me. So I would love to learn more about them. Yeah, I'd love to learn about them, and I could have you on. We could do a show with you as the expert rune master, and you can explain how that works. I would love to do that.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Very cool. Yeah, and I'm fascinated by that, because runes and tarot, and there are so many different tools that are, again, for me, they're the same thing. They're just being used by somebody who connects to source in that way. That's the bridge that helps them, kind of get their messages and bring the messages through. So I love it. Jessica, thank you so much for being here. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you in the green room and sign off the show, but I definitely want to talk to you about getting together and maybe experiencing this with you, because it is something that is kind of been calling out to me a little bit. So it's interesting that you brought it up here in the last couple of minutes of the show. Before I put you in the green room, though, do you have any words of love or wisdom or salutations from my audience?
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, thank you so much again for having me and being able to give me a platform to kind of, get all that information out there and, what gets me inspired. So thank you again so much. I would everyone with the knowledge and knowing that, I truly do believe that everyone has a set of paths specific to them to choose from, but we're the ones that hold the power to chart our own course, and we can enact change. There's always a hope and a way to kind of reconfigure things and materialize and manifest that reality where you can, get to that best place. But a lot has to do with having faith in yourself, knowing how to tap into that power and keeping right, being aware of having high observation of, energies and levels of consciousness and awareness and all the good stuff and the exciting things to explore. And that's really it. A lot of really cool things to learn about. Never too late to learn and experience growth and transformation.
Absolutely. And
So
it's
love
not
and
just
light to everyone.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Yes. I'm going to put you in the back. I'm going to sign off. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you in a minute. Wow. Jessica Robinson, psychic artist. Amazing. Another amazing moment that we got to share together on a Thursday night. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Ninja Kitty. As always, another show. You have been here since day one. Every single show, you tell me how amazing it was. I love you so much for that. Thank you. And Courtney, my new viewer, I love you too. Can I just say I love you on twice a week? Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much that means to me. It's not the kind of person I am. I don't look for gratification that way. But I love that people are out there receiving what I'm given. The messages of love, the messages of hope, the message of connection. That's what's important to me. That everybody sees. When I see somebody treating somebody bad, I try to express. Don't you see that that's you? Like, treat that person like if it was you. And that's the message here. So the message is always one of love. On the live stream of consciousness. So thank you, Tim. Also, one of my cheerleaders since day one. I appreciate it. I actually, Jesse Blaze is here. I'm going to go talk to him. We've been working on some Suno music, so I'm excited to do that. Next week, I don't know who's going to be here. I am working on holding space. I have Alicia Munyan on Tuesday. I'm excited about that. That's going to be a great conversation. She's going to also come back to the live stream of consciousness, as well as Christopher Allen. I would really love to have him back. He's a great power. I got a lot of good friends and a lot of good conversations still left in me, even though they've been here. Angela, thank you so much for being here. Great information. Thank you. I agree. I'm excited to do an episode about the runes. Now I have a reason to do that. So that's great. I love sharing all of this information. So thank you guys for being here. Anyway, I'm going to play my new intro as my outro, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.
This is the theme song for the live stream of consciousness. You gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or you a dream reality. We are all a part of